a lot of owners do continue to manage properties because of the concern of high maintenance expenses.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
but you kind of feel like once you hand that over to a third party manager, your expenses are just going to kind of get out of control.
Hmm.
But and I have some more questions about expenses later on, but
Sure.
maybe just since we're on that right now, how do you communicate with owners to help them become more comfortable with that
Hmm.
topic right there?
Couple things. First, we've chosen to hire a number of maintenance people on our team, and we charge them out at a very reasonable rate. I mean, they're charged out at $50 an hour, which I think is very reasonable for providing insurance and gas money and all that, and paying for decent employees. So I think that first puts the owner at ease that you know it's not $75 an hour, $100 an hour, whatever. The other thing is we try to dispatch our maintenance guys, those same guys, to probably 80% of the maintenance calls that come in. So, when we get a call about a leaking drain, our first response is to send our maintenance guy out at $50 an hour. He may be able to breeze in there and get in and out of there in a half hour, and you pay 25 bucks instead of paying, a licensed plumber $150 to deal with that. So, again, I think that puts the owners at ease that our goal is to is to minimize the costs, and I mean, because we're investors too. And then along with that, kind of coupled with that, is that every maintenance call that we take goes through our call center, our 7 by 24 call center, and then they create work orders or tickets in our management system for those maintenance items, and the owner receives a alert about the maintenance request at the same time we do. So it gives them a little, they don't have to do anything necessarily, they don't have to prove it, they don't have to have a discussion with it unless they want to. So but at least it gives them an idea, hey, the tenant called in because the sink is leaking. And so usually the owners, after a while, they kind of understand, okay, I know that that's generally not a catastrophic, $800 repair. And they also know that we're going to get in contact with them if we see the bill is going to go over 250. We get in contact with the owners and discuss what's going on. And at the same time, that having that notification is real easy for them to just simply reply to that and ask the question. I'm not familiar with a you know a, a, a coupler on a on a furnace or something. What's something like that cost, and we can give them some kind of an estimate. So it helps build that trust and build that understanding over time. So.
Okay. Well, that right there is a good example of the transparency you mentioned earlier about that you are providing. I mean,
Mhm.
if a owner is getting notification at the same time you are, I mean, that takes away kind of the buffer of, okay, well, now as speaking as the manager, for example, well, I've got a little bit of time to figure this out before the owner knows.
Right.
You've removed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's bold, but it's kind of expected, I
Yeah.
guess, now in the technology age that we live in.
Right. I
So
mean, in a way, it allows us to partner a little bit closer with the owner so that they know that we're on their side. And it also helps where if there's recurring issues at a property, they're valid or invalid, at least they're seeing the same things we are. So then it's not a surprise when all of a sudden, or generally it's not a surprise, we've been called out 4 times for the furnace over the last 6 months. And then finally we have to replace it at a big ticket, which is a big ticket item, that at least hopefully they've had some knowledge that, it's like you're driving your car and I hear a squeak, and, so you kind of starting to get used to, I might have a repair coming up.
want to hear more on this topic? Click the link below for the full episode of Maximizing Your Property Value.